Chosen One, your future is suddenly safe. There's been a shift in the atmosphere around you that you may not yet fully understand, but you can feel it. Something has changed in the spiritual realm, something permanent and powerful. Before the storm clouds even gathered, before the chaos reached your doorway, you were marked. God placed a seal upon your life that declares you as protected, chosen, and destined for victory. This isn't wishful thinking or motivational comfort. This is a divine decree that has been spoken over your existence. I need you to stay with me through this entire message, because what you're about to hear will realign your perspective and anchor your soul in a truth that cannot be shaken. If this resonates with your spirit, I want you to comment Amen 777 below, hit that like button, and subscribe to this channel. Your engagement helps spread this message to other chosen ones who need to hear it today. God has made a decision concerning your life, and that decision overrides every opposing force, every contrary circumstance, and every negative prediction spoken against you. You've been experiencing something unexplainable lately, a calm that doesn't match your current situation. While chaos swirls around you, while problems persist and challenges remain, there's a peace settling in your spirit that defies logical explanation. This is because the war has already been won in realms you cannot see. In the courts of heaven, the verdict has been delivered. Victory has been secured not through your striving or your performance, but through divine intervention. The battle you thought you were fighting has already concluded, and you were declared the winner before the first blow was even struck. Your life has transitioned from fragility to firmness in ways you're only beginning to recognize. There was a season when everything felt uncertain, when each day brought new instability and you couldn't find solid ground beneath your feet. But something has shifted. The shadow that hung over your future has lifted. Where there was confusion, clarity is emerging. Where fear once dominated your thoughts, peace is taking residence. Where delay frustrated your progress, motion is now being released. This isn't gradual improvement, this is divine intervention, activating what has been dormant. The firmness you now feel isn't something you manufactured through positive thinking, it's the manifestation of a decision made in heaven about your earthly journey. Others have doubted you, spoken against you, projected their limitations onto your potential, and tried to convince you that your dreams were too big or your calling was imaginary. But while they were speaking their negativity, God was securing and sealing your future in ways they could never interfere with. In the divine courtroom, a decree was issued that silenced every accusing voice. This one will win. That declaration carries more weight than every doubt, more authority than every criticism, and more power than every obstacle placed in your path. The opinions of others no longer have the power to derail what God has decided. Their words may still come, but they bounce off the shield of divine determination that now surrounds your destiny. You're being released from survival mode in a way that's bringing profound relief to your entire being. The weight you've been carrying has been removed. You can breathe deeper now. Your steps feel firmer. There's a supernatural safety that has been released over your life that goes beyond physical protection. It's a covering over your purpose, your peace, and your path forward. Survival mode kept you in a constant state of alertness, always bracing for the next hit, always preparing for the next disappointment. But that season has ended. You're no longer just trying to make it through. You're being positioned to thrive. This shift from survival to safety is the evidence that heaven's decision concerning you has been activated on earth. There's been a shift in authority over your life that's changing how external forces affect you. The fears that used to paralyze you don't work anymore. The lies that used to land in your mind and take root now slide off without impact. You've been elevated above the storm. positioned in a place where the chaos below cannot reach the peace within. This isn't because you've become invincible to hardship, but because you've been anchored to something higher than your circumstances. When you're rooted in divine decision, the winds of opposition may blow, but they cannot uproot what heaven has planted. You're no longer walking in potential, you're walking in confirmation. There's a knowing inside you now that wasn't there before. The unknown used to terrify you, but now it feels like a gift waiting to be unwrapped. You find yourself anticipating favor instead of bracing for impact. This shift in expectation is evidence of the transformation happening in your spirit. When God decides your future is safe, even uncertainty becomes an adventure rather than a threat. You're moving from hoping things might work out to knowing they already have in the spiritual realm, and you're simply watching the manifestation unfold in the natural. This isn't just about protection, it's about purpose activation. You're not wandering anymore. You're walking with certainty toward a destination that has been divinely appointed. The right doors are beginning to open without the resistance you previously encountered. Where there once seemed to be an invisible barrier blocking your progress, that obstruction has dissolved. This is because your movement is now aligned with heaven's movement. When your steps match the rhythm of divine purpose, obstacles that once seemed immovable begin to shift out of your way. The struggle you experienced wasn't because you were on the wrong path. It was because the timing wasn't right. Now that heaven's clock has struck the appointed hour, movement is flowing naturally. The evidence of God's decision is becoming visible in ways that will silence every mocker and shock every dismisser. Those who laughed at your faith are about to witness undeniable proof of divine backing. Those who wrote you off are going to watch in amazement as what they said was impossible manifests before their eyes. This isn't about proving yourself to others or seeking validation from people who doubted you. This is simply the natural result of heaven's decision becoming earth's reality. When God decides to showcase his faithfulness through your life, no amount of human skepticism can prevent the testimony from emerging. Your identity has fundamentally changed. You're not chasing anymore, you're chosen. You're not in survival mode, you're in expression mode, living out the fullness of your calling. You're not desperately trying to become something, you're simply embodying what has already been placed inside you. This shift from striving to being is one of the most liberating transitions you'll ever experience. When you understand that your destiny isn't something you earn, but something you inherit, the pressure to perform evaporates, and the joy of purpose takes its place. What appeared to be a last-minute rescue was actually a long-ago resolution. You weren't falling, you were being carried. You weren't at risk, you were being preserved. The panic you felt was real, but it wasn't accurate. From heaven's perspective, you were never in danger because the decision to bring you through had already been made. This is the difference between heaven's rhythm and earthly panic. While you were experiencing the stress of uncertainty, heaven was calmly orchestrating the perfect timing for your breakthrough. The delays you endured weren't denials. They were divine protection, keeping you from receiving blessings before you were ready to sustain them. Nothing in your journey has been wasted. The losses you suffered were necessary removals. The exits you experienced were strategic repositioning. The delays that frustrated you were protection disguised as rejection. Every closed door that broke your heart was heaven's way of steering you away from a path that would have diminished you. Every friendship that shattered was a divine disconnection from energy that would have drained your assignment. Everything that felt like it was working against you was actually working for you, preparing you for a future bigger than anything you could have planned for yourself. Your future isn't something you're imagining, it's something that has been assigned. There's a custom-designed sequence of events mapped out with precision, specifically for your life. You're not wandering through random possibilities, you're fulfilling prophecy spoken over you before you were born. Every piece of your journey has been fitted perfectly to you. The struggles shaped to build specific strength. The victories timed to build specific faith. The relationships designed to provide specific support. This isn't a generic blessing. This is a personalized plan created by a God who knows exactly what you need to become everything you're called to be. The doors that slammed in your face weren't rejections. They were divine redirections. The friendships that shattered weren't failures. They were divine separations. What you thought was plan A was actually too small for what God wanted to accomplish through your life. Heaven had to remove your hands from lesser things so you could receive greater things. The transfer of authority over your destiny has been completed. It's no longer in the hands of people who could fail you, systems that could betray you, or circumstances that could overwhelm you. Your destiny is fully in God's hands now. Hands that have never lost a battle, never broken a promise, and never failed to finish what they started. There's a sacred quiet settling over your spirit that signals the war has been won. You no longer feel the constant need to fight for recognition or prove your worth. You've been validated in the invisible courts that matter most. While others are still struggling to be seen, you're resting in the confidence that you've already been chosen. This stillness isn't passivity. It's the peace that comes from knowing the battle is over and you were declared the victor. The frantic energy of survival has been replaced with the calm confidence of security. This safety isn't just keeping danger out, it's attracting destiny in. When you're anchored in divine safety, everything that belongs to you begins to find its way to you. Opportunities align, connections form, resources appear, and timing synchronizes in ways that go beyond coincidence. This is the force of safety at work, not as a fence that walls you in, but as a magnet that draws in everything meant for you. Your inner dialogue has shifted as well. You're no longer questioning whether you belong, or waiting for external validation to confirm your value. You're excited rather than afraid, expectant rather than anxious, certain rather than confused. You've entered a realm of confirmation where the small things that used to bother you no longer have power. The noise that used to penetrate your peace now bounces off without impact. You've ascended too high for fear's echoes to reach you. This is holy security, a knowing that exists before visible proof arrives and doesn't require evidence to be trusted. Deep in your spirit, there's an inner knowing declaring, it's already done. This isn't denial of current reality, it's revelation of ultimate reality. What's happening in the spiritual realm is more real than what's manifesting in the natural, and you're learning to trust the unseen more than the visible. You haven't just been shielded from fire, you've become fireproof. The difference is significant. Being shielded means you need constant rescue from danger. Being fireproof means harm doesn't even recognize your frequency anymore. You can walk through environments that would have destroyed you before, and they cannot touch you now. This isn't because you've become stronger in yourself. It's because you've been covered by a protection that supersedes natural laws. When God decides you're fireproof, the flames of opposition may surround you, but they cannot consume what heaven has decided to preserve. The story others wrote about you has been rewritten. Their narratives don't stick to you anymore. You've been upgraded without asking for permission from anyone who tried to define you by your past. There's an immunity from projections that comes when heaven rewrites your narrative. People may still speak their opinions, but those words no longer shape your reality. You're walking through storms with a power that comes from knowing what's guiding you is bigger than what's confronting you. Every delay you experienced was actually alignment, not denial. Heaven was positioning pieces on the board that you couldn't see, arranging circumstances that weren't yet ready, preparing you for weight you weren't yet able to carry. The atmosphere around you is testifying to secret decisions made in your favor. People are treating you differently, even though you haven't announced anything. There's a shift in how you're perceived, how you're approached, and how you're received. This is because the decision made in heaven is beginning to manifest on earth, and even those who don't understand spiritual things can sense something has changed. You're no longer dimming your light for the comfort of others. You're not apologizing for outgrowing spaces that were never designed to contain your full potential. You're simply walking in the authority that has been granted to you. The weight you carried wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You were being tested under pressure to prepare you for the greater pressure that comes with greater purpose. Everything you endured in private was refining you, stripping away the false so the real could emerge. The quiet confidence you now carry isn't pride, it's permission. Permission to stop apologizing for outgrowing people and places. Permission to fulfill what was planted inside you without seeking approval from those who couldn't see your vision. This certainty doesn't mean the absence of difficulty. It means the presence of conviction that nothing can override the decree spoken over your life. When God decides, the universe obeys. You're beginning to experience destiny's gravity, being pulled into rooms you didn't apply for, receiving opportunities you didn't chase, accessing provision you didn't plan. This is what happens when heaven rearranges earth to accommodate its decision. You're not invincible to the world's challenges, but you're immovable in heaven's registry. No matter what turbulence you encounter, you will land safely in your purpose, because that's what has been decreed. Your energy has transformed from desperation to dominion, from need to knowing, from survival to sovereignty. Divine safety doesn't just stand still. It flows and builds momentum. The acceleration you're beginning to experience is because delay has been deleted from your timeline. What was postponed is being released. What was denied is being unlocked. Your path is becoming inevitable, and you're walking into evidence of what was promised. The invisible rearrangement happening in the spiritual realm is becoming clear in the natural. What was hidden is emerging. What was locked is opening. You're not walking in postponement, but preservation, preserved specifically for such a time as this. The tension you felt is transforming into anticipation. The inner war is over, and you've been declared the winner. Your body knows it. There's a peace in your physical being that wasn't there before. Your spirit responds with stillness rather than agitation. Provocations that used to trigger you can't land anymore because you're no longer in the ring. The fight is finished. You're removing the armor because you no longer need to defend yourself at every turn. The weight of constant vigilance has been lifted. The judgment against you has been overturned, and the verdict has been delivered in your favor. Real life is beginning, a life of flow, favor, and fulfillment. You're no longer waiting to be invited into rooms of purpose and provision. You are the invitation. Your presence carries the decision of heaven, and doors open because of what you carry, not because of who you convince. The journey you walked through pain and is becoming a platform. The history of struggle is becoming a harvest of wisdom. The pressure prepared you. It didn't break you. Now everything you endured is fuel for everything you're becoming. This isn't false comfort or temporary relief. This is covenant safety that doesn't expire and doesn't require reapproval. Your soul can finally rest because nothing can remove what's been set in motion. You're walking into what was always waiting for you, prepared before you were born, held in reserve for the appointed time. The foundation beneath you is unshakable because it wasn't built by human hands. It was established by divine decree, and what God has established cannot be dismantled by earthly opposition. What was whispered as prophecy is manifesting as presence. Your future isn't coming to you by effort, but by divine decision. Everything meant for you is gravitating toward you with precise, unstoppable force. Miracles are blooming in barren places where logic says nothing should grow. You're experiencing peace in the middle of storms that should terrify you. Every plot against you is becoming fuel for your purpose. The true you, the one protected, hidden, and cultivated in secret seasons, is being unveiled. You're no longer defined by struggle, but by certainty. Divine knowing is your compass, and it's leading you exactly where you need to be. You've been preserved for magnitude, not mediocrity. Your purpose isn't small, which is why it requires divine safety to fulfill it. Heavenly clearance has been obtained for everything attached to your calling. Your life, your purpose, your calling, your voice, your name, even the ideas still unformed in your mind, all of it is protected. Everything is being unwrapped at the appointed time. The blueprint of your victory is coming together piece by piece, and it's written in ink that never fades. While you were struggling to survive, angels were holding the line, ensuring that what was decreed concerning you would come to pass. A new reality is being born in your life where threats don't touch you, stress doesn't rule you, and fear doesn't lead you. Your steps are anchored in certainty that comes from divine backing. You're no longer flowing from a place of needing to prove yourself or earn approval. You're simply moving freely in the authority that has been granted. The atmosphere you carry now commands respect. Even your enemies can feel it. The presence of heaven's decision over your life is too loud to ignore. The divine yes spoken over you is enough, and you're learning to live from that place of already being approved rather than still trying to qualify. Chosen one, the decision is final. You will win. This isn't optional. This isn't pending approval or contingent on perfect performance. This is happening now. The shift you've been sensing is real. The peace you've been experiencing is evidence. The doors beginning to open are confirmation. Your future is suddenly safe, not because circumstances have changed, but because heaven has spoken. If this message resonated with your spirit, type Amen 777 in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe to this channel. You are backed by heaven, chosen by God, and destined for victory. This isn't someday, this is now. Walk in it, chosen one. Your future is safe, and you will win.